the center fielder, Simeon. Um, who's the other guy? I'm trying to think of the young kid who just came up the Spanish kid. I can't find a spot for him. Oh, and Yurickson Profar. That kid is a good ball player. They got him for him. Very reasonable.
Hey, Peter. Hey, I'm just about to record my sports show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I just thought you know everything else is going. I was giving you a phone call.
Right.
Things are going good. And, you know, I've love to chat sometime, or maybe we get together for lunch.
Yeah.
You ever make it to the
Everything going good?
Same
as always over
once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when I'm going over
same
there.
old, just
so.
shooting stories, doing human interest stories.
Absolutely.
You did that so well. I
I
like the fact
Shot
that
one
you-
on Saturday morning. In this
Yeah, I don't know how
this
he.
guy who was a
How did he get all that square
sports medicine
footage?
guy.
Uh-huh.
He had he's
Yeah, that's right.
started
78. Yeah.
travel
That's right.
baseball.
Yeah. Interesting.
But the team is comprised of like inner city kids who don't have a lot of money, and he would take the
I
kids
wonder
to
how much he
China
put into it.
to play a series of games.
Wow.
And so now he does now the same with basketball. He holds these basketball tryouts. Like
Cool.
the Saturday, he had some tryouts in Richmond
Uh-huh.
Jeez,
at the police athletic
If he's asking like
headquarters.
3 times the
And
amount.
for gifted basketball players who don't have a lot of money, who
Who's that?
hungry
no.
guys that
Your nemesis.
want to like either get out of the hood or get more out of life,
There you go.
whatever. And so
Yes.
so at these tryouts,
All right, well, we'll catch up again, Peter.
He's gonna take
Okay,
12
thanks.
players
All right,
to
bye-bye.
China in August
Wow.
for a series of like 5-6 exhibition games.
Where does he get the backing to do this?
Well, he's got a good relationship with the Chinese government, and I mean he's a guy he's kind of a self-made guy. Came over here as an immigrant from Vietnam.
Wow.
Made a little money, and he's
So he's Vietnamese?
he just his name is Tuan, and he just felt like he just wanted to be able to just give back somehow.
That is so cool.
Seeing himself in some of these kids that he's working out.
How did you hook up with him? How did you find out about it?
Co-worker ran into him,
Oh.
and she's a general sign reporter, so this is more sports.
Yeah,
So she gave the story to me, and I went and shot it.
that's great.
So yeah, shot that. I got a golf feature in the works. This Wednesday, I'll be in Livermore High School with the softball team, taking infield with them
All right.
because they got a good thing going with the tournament coming up. So
Yeah,
we just
that's great.
And then next Sunday we have the first of, I believe, 10 NCAA basketball shows.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because next Sunday is Selection Sunday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's a big deal.
We'll be just a little busy.
Mm.
You ready?
Yes,
All
sir.
right, so we'll do our 2-minute
sir.
one, then we'll do our
I can't
9:45.
remember this guy's name was on today.
Chris Giles.
Chris Giles.
Chris Giles. There we go. You guys know more than I do.
Only because you told us.
Yeah. I even erased it from my thing here, so it's okay.
I wonder if I can do.
Ooh,
I
those
wonder
are
if I can
little.
do. How much lead? I wonder if I can do.
There you
I
go.
wonder if I can do this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
used to that.
Daddy likes
There you
this.
go. Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny. I had that one time with one of these, and because someone wanted me to do that, and it
Right.
just
Oh, really?
give us the connection. So
Okay.
if
Maybe
it
they
does,
were-
we'll put it back.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds so good.
Good.
All right, ready?
You gotta
Yes.
hold it right.
Gotta hold it right.
Well, you have just a little experience doing that. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Well, welcome. You're listening to Sport Geek. That's all, folks. You're listening to Sports
Thank you,
Geek.
Mel Blanc.
Thank you. You're listening to Sports Geek.
What an open.
That's a great opener. We're good. Do it again. Do it again.
Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime sports radio personality, and Vern Glenn from CBS affiliate KPIX TV in San Francisco. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. Today's trivia theme is various baseball questions in honor of our guest coming on in a couple of segments, Chris Giles, the Chief Operating Officer of the Oakland A's. That'll be very interesting. Let's see, we're going to talk a little bit about Antonio Brown going to the Raiders.
We kind of saw that coming, didn't we?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, the Raiders are the home for the wayward, but I think he'll fit right in.
And then Hunter Pence playing not for the Giants, but for the Rangers.
Texas Rangers.
Holy smokes.
For now. Yeah.
What happened? I mean, he was such a love here in San Francisco.
Well, hey, I had him on with me not too long ago, and he said, hey, Vern, it's a performance business, and he admitted he wasn't putting up the numbers.
Yeah. What is he? 34 years old, Vern?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, 34 is kind of like right at the edge.
Mm-hmm.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. When you get to the edge, boy, you one of two ways. You can either go down or keep on performing.
Keep on performing.
To the best.
The great thing about this is that he's back in his hometown. He grew up in Dallas.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, because you wonder if a guy doesn't have a good year and you say, okay, it was performance based, why would the Rangers pick him up?
Well, they got nothing to lose.
It was a minor league contract that they signed him to. It's not like it was a big league contract.
Was that $500,000 or something today?
Yeah. And then maybe he'll just be a designated hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still got,
Well, they're playing one more year in that stadium down there, and then they move into the new place. And he says he's so excited because when he was a kid, he hung out at that stadium. It was just being built. And now, after 27 years or whatever it's been, they're tearing it down and building a new one.
There you go. That shows us old folks here.
Yeah.
This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding over 7.5%, secured by real estate. Doesn't get any more conservative than that. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Stay tuned. You're listening to Sports Econ 101.
Right. Atlanta's tearing down their stadium too, aren't they? The Georgia Dome, and they're building another one.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know you're getting old, when you see a stadium go up.
But, I mean, they haven't been. The Georgia Dome or Texas Stadium have been around that long. Turner Field was torn down after 25 years.
Yeah. I think the Braves are on their third field.
Yeah. And, the Giants Stadium now is going to be. This is its 20th year. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
20th year.
It's funny you think about some of these older stadiums, like the ones that were like really old.
Tiger Stadium,
Polo Grounds.
How long was that around? I'm glad I got to go to a few of those.
Polo Grounds started in like 1880 something.
And actually, there were 3 of them, and they were all built within about a 15-20 year period. Very small. Then they expanded. Then they tore it down.
And a couple of them were made out of wood, and the fire just tore all that.
Yeah, that's a different world, I should say. Different word.
It works.
All right.
And I am filming this for YouTube just for.
Oh, hello.
Camera.
Say hello. Oh.
Trying to get some more of those hotel certificates. I know Bruce likes the hotel certificates. Do you like those? Or is it hard for you to get away?
It's hard for me to get away, but I'll as you get them, we'll take them.
Okay.
Particularly if it's food-related stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got some good ones over the years.
Yeah.
There's one out. The one out in Livermore was nice. The one up in Healdsburg was really nice.
Yeah.
The Grape Leaf Inn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The one up in Calistoga.
Yep.
That's really nice.
Mount View.
Yeah, Mount View. Yeah. Those are the 3 that Colette really likes. I'm easier. I'm not a. You know how women are. I hate to sound sexist, but it's true.
No,
they like comfort.
Yeah. Anything other than a motel.
Wow, this is coming back to the Bay Area. Trent Brown.
What's that?
Offensive tackle Trent Brown.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Played last year with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Coming back to the Raiders.
Well, the Raiders, I'm telling you, Gruden is building a team trying to build a team like he did or helped to build back in 98, 99, 2000 when they brought in Gannon and Rice and Woodson and Romanowski. They were a good team. They want to have that kind of team ready when they get to Vegas. Instant
Smart.
contender. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do our 9:45 segment.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to start off with?
Whatever you want to talk about. Just have some fun. Have some fun. Baseball if you want. I don't know.
We can we probably
NFL draft.
probably the topical thing this week has been the NFL free agency.
Yeah.
Because the legal tampering period is right now, and then the first day you can actually announce the signings is Wednesday.
Yeah.
So probably in the case of the Raiders, probably earliest that they could bring in Antonio Brown would be Thursday for the Dog and Pony show.
I think Michael Bennett is signing with, or no, he was traded. That's right. That was a trade. So Michael Bennett went from Philadelphia to the Patriots.
Yep.
He's been around a long time, hasn't he?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think he's in his early 30s. And the Giants and the Browns made a big deal. Offensive lineman from the Browns, one of the better guys, Zeitler, went to the Giants for one of the better linebackers. God, I can't remember his name. Yeah, escapes me.
All right.
Too many names. Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here, along with Bruce McGowan and Vernon Glenn. Hey, I didn't thump on my words on that one. Not bad, huh? Okay.
You've had your cup of coffee, so you're ready to.
That's
roll.
right.
Yeah.
Zing zing.
Your mocha.
My mocha.
Yeah.
I'm in the zone.
You're in the zone. Yes, he's there. Vern's already had his cup, so he's ready.
I have, yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So before we get into baseball, because Chris will join us in the next segment, talk a little football. Antonio Brown going to the Raiders.
I like it.
Best receiver in football to the Raiders.
I love it. Did you see, by the way, either of you guys see the interview he did on ESPN this last week? I don't need football.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I mean, he sounded kind of like the spoiled athlete, but I understand where he's coming from. This guy's from the roughest part of Miami, and, he's done everything a football player could do. I think he had a little problem with Ben Roethlisberger and also with his head coach, Mike Tomlin. And
from what I understand, when management referred to the team as a bunch of kids.
That's right. The general manager said that.
That's what set Antonio Brown off. No, I'm a man.
Yeah. Well, no, I understand that. I do. I mean, he was saying Ben Roethlisberger's got to deal with a bunch of kids. That's just not a real smart thing to do.
Now, the Steelers, the Steeler Nation, if you call it, they will say, good riddance.
Yeah.
Enjoy the honeymoon period because it will wear off.
Yeah.
Because they're used to his behavior, sometimes immature.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been incidents throughout his 9 years in Pittsburgh. But, I mean, as John Gruden said to us maybe a couple months ago, so that he's never seen anybody work harder in practice than Antonio Brown.
Well, and you remember Andre Rison came to the Raiders with the reputation. And Andre Rison, didn't have great years.
And he worked hard in practice.
He worked hard in practice, and he was very productive for the Raiders. So, hey, if the Raiders are kind of the home for the wayward, and Gruden loves to massage these guys. So if anybody can get the most out of Antonio Brown, it's John Gruden.
Well, he said he's been posting. He's been all over Twitter, just messages to Derek Carr. He's ready to go, and he's say what you want about Amari Cooper, a great talent that he is. We just had to wait for him to play for the Cowboys to see it.
Yeah.
But here's a proven guy, Hall of Fame written all over.
Oh yeah.
Almost 900 receptions, over 11,000 yards, 70 some odd touchdowns in his career, and a guy that can stretch the field. I mean, it's going to be fun seeing him run routes at the college.
Carr is going to love playing with this guy.
Oh yeah.
So when he said he didn't need football, was he thinking financially because he's already got?
Oh yeah, I think that's part of it. And also, he's 32? We're in 31.
31 years old.
31 years old. He's played.
But
you think he's been playing competitive football since 14? So 17 years since high school.
And you would think when he said, "I don't really need football," you would think that would devalue some of his deal. But look what he's getting. He's getting $30 million guaranteed. He's getting 50 mil over 3 years. He was able to parlay the $17 million a year he was getting from the Steelers to make even more money as a Raider.
As a Raider.
So, what does that tell other players who are sort of teetering on the same sort of idea?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's all give and take. Edward, you know, he's playing in California, so now there's going to be California taxes. They're going to kind of fleece some of that paycheck.
That's part of it.
You mentioned he's playing in California. I mean, the Raiders are going to play in Oakland in all probability. But have you been following this on again, off again nonsense that's been going on between the Raiders and the Oakland Coliseum?
Well, I'm just glad that the two are learning how to be in bed together.
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's it's happening. They're going to play in Oakland next year.
They will.
And the next, if the new stadium in Vegas is not ready.
And it probably won't be ready.
Yeah.
They want to have it in perfect shape.
Yeah.
They want to roll it out like it's.
They should.
Yeah.
They've come out with.
Fine for me, because I love to travel, because I travel with the Raiders, because we at Channel 5, KPIX, we have the Raider games.
Are you going to carry? No, well, you're looking ahead. We don't know, but I mean, when they're Las Vegas, will you guys continue to carry them?
I believe we will, because the interest will be there. I mean, the fan base will still.
A lot of them will still be
here.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine us just not
That's so
having
weird.
the Raider, and I bet you Sacramento will have the Raider games too.
Yeah.
I bet you up and down the California coastline, the CBS affiliates will carry the Raider games.
Yeah, because a lot of Raider fans wouldn't just say, well, we'll just stick with the 49ers.
No,
There's a separation between
Oh
those
my
two.
God, there is. I mean, I grew up here, went to a lot of games on both sides of the bay, and covered both sides of the bay. And there is a huge. When the Raiders were gone for those 13 years, you think about it, that was the height of the Niners dynasty. And yes, there were a lot of Raider fans that would not follow the 49ers, but there were a lot more that grew up that were young kids that knew nothing but the 49ers, and they became 49er fans, and they're now in their 40s.
So let me ask you, for baseball, do the Angels and Dodgers have that same sort of, like,
I don't-
one or the other?
I don't think so.
I don't sense that either.
Well,
I think that market's kind of blasé when it comes to that. I mean, deep-rooted hatred.
So when you go to, well, I know when you go to New York,
that's
Mets versus
Oh,
Yankees.
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
What about, like, the Bills and the Jets?
Well, that's
really
upstate New York.
Yeah.
That's
You got to remember, Oakland and San Francisco are just 6-7 miles away from each other.
But one's in one league, one's in the other.
Right. Well, but it's at the same time, in the NFL, I think it's a little different. I mean, the 49ers and Raiders for years, from 1967 to 2000 and, about 2002, every year one of those teams was in the playoffs virtually, and most of half the time both of them were in the playoffs. They played in 8 Super Bowls collectively.
And I can remember when I worked in
We're
Baltimore,
Yeah.
the Colts had not been gone very long, and
Yeah.
we did not do hardly anything with the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
And that's 40 minutes away from Baltimore.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, did I hear that except for the last couple of years, the Raiders hadn't been in the playoffs since 2001, since the Tuck rule?
2002.
Or 2002.
Yeah, that Super Bowl. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Well, they'd been to one time in 2016, and they got blown out in the first round because Carr, broke his leg. Yeah.
Can you imagine that going that long as a drought? I can't imagine
Just
that.
just
Class Cleveland.
ask any Warrior fan that followed that team in the 1990s.
Ooh.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
terrible.
they'll tell you about a drought.
Jeez, that was awful.
Yeah.
That was awful.
I know, it's funny. When I used to watch some of the games, mostly on TV, I kept thinking, okay, how are they going to lose this one?
Well, how many coaches they ran through? 11 coaches in 16 years. You know how many players came and went? I mean, but you know who was there the whole time? Good old Chris Cohen, worst owner in Bay Area sports history. Sorry, Chris, you're a nice guy, but you didn't know how to run a franchise.
Yeah, but well.
He knew how to market the team.
He knew how and he knew how to make money, because by the time he sold it.
Oh yeah, but they're worth 10 times. They're worth 5 times what he bought it, what he sold it for. But you're right, he sold it for 10 times what he bought it for. Too.
Yeah, but how long did he own it?
16 years.
So 16 years making, he made 10 times.
And they averaged.
Okay, that's pretty good.
They averaged during those 16 years. They averaged about 13,000 a game with a crappy team. They only went to the playoffs one time in 2007 when Don Nelson put that We Believe team with Steven Jackson and Baron Davis and Monte Ellis.
But I guess
together.
still, that's the thing, is even if they lose, if you have exciting players, then kind of carry it for a while.
I hate to say this, I'm really wondering if they're going to even get out of the Western Finals this year, the way they're playing. I mean, they lost to Phoenix the other night at home to the Phoenix Suns. Now, the Phoenix Suns were playing well, but my gosh, you don't blow a double-digit lead to the Phoenix Suns on your home.
I think when it gets
but don't you think that that's an anomaly. Don't you?
Yeah.
I hope so.
I think
I
when
mean,
it gets to the playoffs,
but,
it's
but
gonna
they've
be
lost.
brutal.
They've lost coming into that game. They had beaten Denver in the previous game, but they got embarrassed by the Celtics by 33. They got blown out by Houston by 20. I mean, they've lost some. They don't have a deep bench this year.
Don't you think? But don't you think Klay Thompson had a point when he spoke to us the other day and said, "Hey, look, I mean, we're getting everybody's best.
Oh,
every night.
No question.
We just cannot
Absolutely.
match that energy
Absolutely.
every single night and turn it on. And this
Absolutely.
is not CYO. This is not high school.
Yeah.
I mean, these are
And
a bunch of professionals here.
Once you
No.
get to the playoffs, it's like there's only so many games left. You put everything.
Yeah, again,
Right.
I'm just concerned about their bench. I'm not seeing a lot from their bench. Iguodala's getting old, Sean Livingston's getting old, and the guys like, Cook and Bell are just not there. Well, they haven't had a lot. Andrew Bogut will help out. I don't know how much help he'll be.
Name me a team before we go to break. Name me a team outside of the Houston Rockets that can beat these guys 4 times in a 7-game series.
That's a good question.
Okay, here we go. Talking baseball here. Who is the only player since 1900 to collect 14 hits over 3 consecutive games? You'll know.
14 hits in 3 games?
Over 3 consecutive games. He had 14 hits.
14 hits in 3 games.
Yeah, there's only one player.
One player. Wow.
Stay with us. You're listening to
In the great history of the game.
101.
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably somebody we never heard of.
No.
It's a household name.
I was thinking of,
Not a
remember
household
the
name, but
Giants had an
you'll definitely know.
infielder, a light-hitting infielder named Mike Benjamin, who went, I think, in a doubleheader, he went something like 9 for 9. Yeah, something like that. It was crazy at Wrigley Field back in about 90. Mike, and they used to call him Mike Banjo Man because he was a banjo hitter, 210. His lifetime average, something like
They
that.
go up banjo hitting?
Banjo hitting.
That's funny.
Banjo hitting. I don't know where all these
2
crazy-
wounded in a Santa Rosa Mall parking lot shooting. Damn.
Did you hear about that Ethiopian plane crash?
Yeah, jeez. 6 minutes after takeoff.
That's the second
6.
one. That's the second one. Apparently, they've got some kind of mechanical problems they didn't fix.
And it's a Boeing 737-8 series or something. And I'm looking, there's a couple planes that are going to go on
It's a big plane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it a big plane?
What's really sad is this Oakland councilwoman, her son was murdered.
Oh, in that bank robbery
Yeah.
attempt,
Oh,
right?
is that what it was? I didn't know. They said it was some kind of a robbery thing,
Yeah.
but I didn't know.
So they wanted it. They took everything and then they shot him. And she had lost her grandson. Same kind of situation.
Oh my
A
gosh.
couple of years before.
What? No, it was a bank robbery or
No, it was just a robbery on the
Okay.
street. Yeah,
For some reason I thought it was
that's a rough area right around USC.
Yeah, it was
Can be,
yeah.
can be. Yeah.
All right.
All
Let
right.
me get this. I'm gonna get this up because he's.
That's so sad.
Yeah, that's.
I was watching last night with my daughter. I hadn't seen it in years. I'd only seen it once. The Blind Side about Michael.
I love
Oh,
that
great
movie.
movie.
Great
I
film.
love that movie.
Yeah, I was in tears half the time.
Yeah.
He talked about it. And he played in the NFL, what, about 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, with the Baltimore
Yeah.
Ravens.
Yeah.
He said that movie ruined his football career. Though.
It did?
That's what he said, and I don't know why. I mean, just because like people go. "Ooh,"
Well, hopefully he did all right. I mean, he played in the NFL for 3 years, so he talk about a rags to riches story. Though, jeez.
Sure.
That one scene where Sandra Bullock's character is in there talking to the mom,
Yeah.
Oh,
Also, when he says, "I never had one before." Oh, you never had your own room?
no,
Never
bad.
had bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh,
Some of us are a little more privileged than others.
yeah.
Never take that stuff for granted,
No. Well, 13 million kids in this country go to bed every night without enough food in their bellies. In this country, that's inexcusable.
That is inexcusable. So during the Holocaust, what I heard that some of the orphan kids, what they would do, that someone figured this out. They couldn't sleep at night because all the bombs and all this kind of stuff. Each kid was given a little like mini loaf of bread, and they were able to sleep because they knew they'd be able to eat the next day.
Damn.
It's interesting. One of the group, of my cancer group, he's a young guy who grew up in the Netherlands. This boy, he's like in his early 80s, late 70s now, but he was a kid during the occupation. He was Jewish, and the only reason he survived was his mom wasn't Jewish. So his dad was killed immediately. He was taken off to a concentration camp, but mom was not Jewish, and the Germans didn't investigate it, and so they left him alone.
It's interesting. I read some stuff about that where they said, well, if you're, it's like one grandparent, it's not like they just said, oh, if you have any Jewish blood in you, boom, you're gone. Yeah. They were very, like you said, it's this, there's only so much. Interesting how they did that.
Yeah.
Okay, 10:30, right? He hasn't.
10:30. You want to do one more segment, or you want to just?
Yeah, but I was going to say
we probably call him.
Okay, yeah, because the other one's going to last 11 and a half, and that'll go in between. So
probably by the time you called him, got him hooked up, whatever, it'll be pretty much close to 10:30 anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you call him 5 minutes early, I don't think he's gonna.
Is he supposed to call you, Bruce?
No. We call him. I've always with guests. It's never good. Sorry. Never good to do that because they will not call on time. It's been my experience. Hopefully he'll answer.
See, that clock says 10:29, but I know that's a little.
Hello?
Hi, is this Chris? Hi, Chris. This is Edward Brown, along with Bruce McGowan and Vern Glenn.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
I know we're set up for 10:30. We were wondering if you're available now.
Yeah, as long as the audio is okay. I'm in the car.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll make it work.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do the best we can here.
All right.
Where were you, down at Arizona, Chris?
I was. We're back yesterday and going back tomorrow. We leave from Arizona to go to Japan on Thursday.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan and Vern Glenn. Our first trivia question was, who was the only player since 1900 to collect 14 hits over 3 consecutive games?
And it's a well-known, relatively recent?
No, 1995.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, Luis Gonzalez of the Diamondbacks?
No.
You got me.
You had it. Mike Benjamin.
Mike Benjamin?
For the Giants.
Whose lifetime average was about 215.
Wow. He got them all in those 3 days.
The nickname of him was Mike Banjo Man.
That's funny.
Anyway, we got Chris Giles, COO of the Oakland A's.
And here's the guy. Chris Giles. This guy is batting 1,000.
This guy is in charge of an organization right now that is really on the rise. And it's funny, here in the Bay Area, we don't talk a lot about the Oakland A's because the Giants are such a big deal. But I'm telling you right now, the A's once again should be in the playoffs. If not a playoff team, they're going to be challenging. And Chris, I got to ask you, we've got to introduce you first. Chris went to school. He's at Fresno State, then at the Haas School of Business in Berkeley. How did you get involved with the Oakland A's, Chris? Because you were a business major. Were you always a sports guy?
Always a sports fan, and obviously growing up. Actually spent the first part of my career doing investment banking in New York. And then after business school, I've really been in sports ever since. The short answer to your question was Dave Campbell and I actually did a joint venture together when I was at the 49ers and he was at the Earthquakes.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, because you're heavily involved in getting Levi Stadium going, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, settle this. Speaking of Levi Stadium, I don't know if this is urban legend or not, but when the stadium was built, was the original idea for the team to come out of their locker room and then pour out on the sunny side of the field, and then Harbaugh found out and went, no, we're going to be on the shade side of the field and make the opponent stand in the sun. True?
There was conversation about where the sun was relative to the team. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Sounds like somebody who went to law school.
Absolutely.
Well, one thing Chris has done is he has helped to pioneer a ticket program which has been very popular with A's fans. The A's are always looking to build a fan base, with players coming and going and the organization not getting a lot, having not big high profile guys, but good young players. It's hard for the fans to kind of to glom onto these guys, and yet at the same time, the A's have a very reasonable price range for tickets. And Chris, I guess you kind of had to come up with this idea out of necessity. Tell us a little bit about how you developed this plan and what it amounts to, because it sounds as if you've really turned a lot of the people on in the East Bay who want to, have an affordable afternoon for their family.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to key, insights we had. One is that fan preferences are not evolving; they're dramatically changing. When you look at fans, less than 35 or so, start things like, hey, it's not the center of my universe. I want to be in social settings. I want to make my decisions, the day of, that sort of thing. Whereas, some of our more traditional fans, the whole value proposition of their membership for years and years has been their association and to get to their experience. That was really kind of insight one, is how can we build a program that is conducive to a flexible, more social experience, but still allows our core fan base to have the experience that they've enjoyed over the years. And the second insight was that, fixed capacity business models are challenging. And you see, sports and hotels and airlines all kind of being taken over by third-party marketplaces, which end up controlling a lot of the, customer relationships. They've got to run these big, expensive loyalty programs to keep their customer retention rates high. But you see other business models where capacity is much more flexible, which a lot of these kind of more social experiences allow us to have a flexible capacity. A membership or a country club or even software companies where the programs are really driven by membership, and there's not the need for third-party marketplaces or loyalty programs. The actual business has a direct relationship and has a much stickier relationship with their customers.
Which brings us to my follow-up question, because of the innovative ideas that you have to bring the crowd into the Coliseum. I love the idea of the treehouse. How did that idea come? You've been there, Bruce? I mean,
you better explain that.
Explain to the fans what the treehouse is.
The treehouse, and Mr. Giles can expand on it a little bit more. Treehouse is an area in deep left center, and it's an area where I believe a lot of the walk-up can come and just pay a fee to get in there. It's like being in a club with a bar, and you can watch the game from there. But it's a great experience. It's like being in a sports bar because there's monitors everywhere. It's awesome. And don't I have the right idea, Chris?
That's it. I mean, the insights from that came from a market research study, which really kind of sparked a lot of the kind of thought process around how do we evolve our business model. And the treehouse was really a test. Hey, if we can take an area of the ballpark that is traditionally very low price, very low sell-through seat, take the seats out and create a much more social experience.
Great idea.
It would be successful. And that test case was extremely successful. And it really was the first day of last season when I walked in there and saw about 5,000 fans in there. It was really kind of the spark for, hey, we can get our team together and start working on a more broad-reaching business model that addresses this kind of growing fan need for these social experiences.
And how did you promote it? Chris, how did you promote the treehouse?
Well, we started with just a really kind of low-price model. We launched the Treehouse Pass last year, which was pay one kind of monthly, and you can come to the treehouse as much or as little as you'd like. Your access is limited to the treehouse and the surrounding areas. There's about 2,000 general admission up there next to the treehouse. And this year we're actually opening an area we're calling the stomping ground, which is a similar area, from a physical standpoint, but rather than being filled with bars and drink rails, filled with a bunch of kids-friendly and family-friendly attractive eating products.
It's safe to say there'll be an appearance by Stomper, the mascot, at the Stomper's ground, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Explain what the mascot looks like.
He's a beautiful, plush, gray elephant.
That's right.
Big gray elephant. Yeah. Yeah, we're having a little problem with the phone there, Chris. It's kind of coming in and out, but we're enjoying having a chance to talk to Chris Giles, because I think, again, there are a lot of teams that are sort of following the model of the A's, since You guys have to do this out of necessity to get fans, but it sounds as if a lot of the other teams are taking up some of the ideas that you come up with. Is that true? Because you're in touch with a lot of your brethren and the other teams.
Especially in a copycat business.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we've had lots of conversations. We've seen, some other companies roll out kind of early iterations of the product after our conversation. That's the biggest thing that, I end up talking with over and over is it's not about price. It's just about value. And the distinction there is, I'll give you an example. We sell a 10-game reserve in 71 game, general admission access pass for $500. That is significantly over, just the ticket price for the 10 games. We're really positioning this as a membership. So if you think about it from our perspective, we're taking 10 games of inventory off the table and basically monetizing that inventory a little over 2 times what we would get if we just sold the ticket as a standalone. So we're really selling access, which is a high value addition to a set of tickets, to our fans, which is not only good for them, but it's a great business model for us.
Wow. I'm just curious, Chris. When you open up the spreadsheet and you show the owner, John Fisher, hey, look at that number all the way on the right-hand column. How many victory laps do you actually do?
It's still early. We actually played a game under this model, so I try to.
Yeah, but you know how it is. It's like once the game is over, those unsold tickets are worthless. So you got to put as much income per day per seat as you can. Like you said, if you weren't selling too much in the left center field anyway, take it out and do something different.
And what helps, I think, Chris's cause also is the fact that Bob Melvin, your manager, and Billy Bean and David Forrest have put together some pretty good teams these last couple of years. They've been fun to watch. I mean, Vernon and I have been out covering the A's the last few years, and it's especially last year. This was a very good team. I mean, if this team hadn't had to play a wild card game in New York, they might have gone into the National American League Championship Series. So that doesn't hurt.
Well, it does more than doesn't hurt. It's a turbocharger in anything we do.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, can you stay with us one more segment? We're just going to cut to a commercial break.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, second trivia question, because our last trivia question has to do with the A's. So we're going to go to the second trivia question here, which is, in 1965, which Reds pitcher threw 10 innings of no-hit baseball only to lose 1-0 in 11 innings to the Mets? And by the way, he struck out 18 batters.
What year again
was
was
it?
1965.
Oh.
All right. And he struck out 18 batters.
I got that one.
Really? Okay. Wow, pretty good.
I was 13 years old. I was a huge fan of the major leagues back in.
So he struck out 18, walked only one, and he faced only one over the minimum.
This guy, by the way, this guy's from Chris's neck of the woods. Chris grew up in Clovis. This guy, I believe, grew up in Fresno.
Okay, and if Chris, if you know the answer, don't say anything yet, because we'll answer it on the way back.
I'm pretty sure.
All right. We're gonna cut back. We're gonna cut to another commercial break. When we come back, we have Chris Giles still on the phone, Chief Operating Officer of the Oakland A's. Stay with us. You're listening to Sport Econ 101. All right. Thank you. Let me just
Chris, are you on a speaker, or do you have the phone right up against your mouth there?
He's in the car.
Is he in the car? Yeah. Why don't you do that? Because it's kind of. If I'm having problems hearing it a little bit, and I am, of course, I'm an older guy, but just think of the listeners, because what you're saying is some great stuff, and I don't want to have our listeners miss this. So I know it's a pain. Appreciate you being much better. That's much better.
Oh yeah, that is. Oh yeah,
much better.
That is much better.
I am running the risk of getting a ticket, so that would.
Oh no.
Edward will pay the ticket gladly, right, Edward? You'll get your free night at the what is that place that you always send me, the Montview up in St. Helena? Yeah. So you went to the Haas School of Business, huh, Chris?
I did.
Yeah, that's a good school. When did you graduate there? When did you get your master's?
2010.
Wow. You are a
young guy.
Young fella.
Yeah. That's you got your whole life in front of you, man. You got some great things. I hope you stick with baseball, though. I know you probably have other aspirations, but I hope you stick with baseball, because baseball needs people like you. All right.
It's a whole different challenge. NFL is very much centered around how do we just kind of CrossFit match, the man generation, so it's a completely different challenge.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. All right, ready?
Yeah, yeah.
Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here, along with Bruce McGowan, Vern Glenn, our special guest, Chris Giles, the Chief Operating Officer of the Oakland A's. Second trivia question. In 1965, which Reds pitcher threw 10 innings of no-hit baseball only to lose 1-0 in 11 innings to the Mets?
That was Jim Maloney.
Holy smokes.
Yeah,
He is
he was a good pitcher. Jim Maloney was a terrific pitcher.
Big Bruce, no hesitation.
No, but he also grew up in the Valley. I think he was in
know
Stockton or Fresno. And Chris, our guest, Chris Giles from the A's, you're from Clovis, Chris, a little town just south of near Fresno, I should say, right?
That's correct. It's just east of Fresno.
Yeah.
That Clovis is the host of the California State Swim and Diving Championship.
And there's a reason why you know that.
Well.
Kids are, Chris, just in case you didn't know, Vern's kids are really into swimming.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You wanted to
High school sports in Clovis, California is an insane thing. I grew up thinking that high school sports was actually everywhere, only to be totally disappointed.
Yeah. Well, you come out here to the Bay Area, and it's a big deal for those parents that are involved, but for the general population, I mean, they're keeping a closer watch on our pro teams, the major college teams.
Bruce, you wanted to ask a question about comparing football.
Oh, yeah. Well, Chris was talking about the difference between how you gear your product and the marketing strategies and everything. The NFL is much different. I mean, the NFL, you only have 10 games to sell, and it's kind of an event. You have to sell 82 or 81 games. I mean, so it's a whole different ball game, literally, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I used to talk about 49ers games is we're selling, 8 single-day vacations. And that's a very different approach than, selling, 81 games. I think as a practical matter, there's really no one out there who can go to 81 games. And so really thinking about, what is the right business model for 81 games, I think we're going to ultimately end up in a very different place than what would be an ideal business model for the NFL.
Bruce would be the only person I would vote for who would
go to 81 games. Yeah, actually, I have had seasons where I've covered 81 games, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Back in the 80s with the Giants and the A's, back in like 86 through about 92.
No. Chris is about to take his product international. Am I right? You're about to liberal use of that passport as the A's open up in Japan, correct?
That's right. We're actually headed to Vegas tomorrow, and then on Thursday about noon we head to the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport there.
Chris, let me ask you, because in the old days, like Babe Ruth's time, they did the barnstorming to kind of bring it overseas. Baseball in Japan is already huge. What's the reason that they're doing it this year?
Well, I think it's a series that the league has done for quite a number of years now, and it's really an honor for us to participate in it, and really to provide increased exposure for our brand and the broader kind of Major League Baseball brand to the baseball fans.
And also, you got to remember, Ichiro is back for one more year with Seattle, and he's maybe the most popular player next to Sadaharu to ever come out of Japan, and he's had an incredible career in Seattle. Arriving at the age, I think he's 28 or 29 when he got here, he's probably headed to the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
so he's going to be playing, and I would think the Mariners will probably have him in the lineup at least for one of those games, probably. So, have you ever talked to him, by the way, Vernon?
Ichiro?
Yeah. He's very soft-spoken.
Only through an interpreter.
Yeah. He speaks English, but he prefer to do it through an interpreter because he doesn't want to be misunderstood. So, But the Japanese players, we're seeing more and more of them come to the United States, and there's some good ones.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Did they have any?
Do you guys have any Japanese players in the minor leagues at all, Chris, or is it? Because I know you have a lot of good Latin players. This kid Laureano, the center fielder, has got an amazing arm. I don't know. Do you know anything about your minor league system in terms of some of the kids that we might be seeing in the next? Because the A's do bring up a lot of young players.
Yeah, I'm fairly familiar with it. I'm not sure if we have any kind of standout Japanese players, but Laureano's going to be special. We've got a whole crop of guys that I want yesterday.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about the A's. Just young, hungry guys given opportunity at the big league level, and they prosper. And hopefully, with the new ballpark, the A's will be able to have these guys around long term instead of
It'd be nice not to keep trading
dealt,
away.
at its highest value.
By the way, Chris, we know Vern and I and Edward kind of know what's going on with the ballpark. And right now, there is no ballpark, and there's no, there are some plans maybe for a ballpark, but it's a long-term thing. What's the feeling like? You guys are going to be at the Coliseum, and in fact, you're going to be the only pro sports franchise in the East Bay for a number of years. So what's the deal going to be for you guys in the interim until this new ballpark is built? You're going to have to be playing in the Oakland Coliseum. How do you maximize the fan interest there?
Yeah, we continue to invest in the Coliseum this year. We've got that family area that I talked about. We're also we're using it as a really kind of a petri dish to try all the things that we're contemplating building in the new ballpark, the things we're actually designing in the new ballpark. We've got 3 or 4 new seating products that we're rolling out this year. We're going to have lounge seats, which are basically like a big kind of living room style seat in section 113. We're doing terrace tables, which are half round, kind of high top tables with in-seat service in section 121. We're building some outdoor kind of theater boxes, which are very similar to a suite without a full enclosure. They're kind of outdoor, kind of patio suites. And then we've got some really cool group areas that are modeled after the treehouse for really large groups out in left and right field.
I think
and then one of my favorites, you got to keep the taco trucks coming. Absolutely, man. That what a huge hit up in the Horseshoe.
I think it's really, really smart because in the Bay Area there are so many other things people can do. And soccer's become big and lacrosse and all that. That it's like you got to do something for the fans who are not as hardcore. I mean, when I was a kid, you just sat in the seat and watched double headers, no problem. Now it seems like your attention gets so sporadic.
Well, it's the fringe fan, right, Chris?
Yeah,
I mean, the fringe fan. Those are the ones that have the money, and those are the ones that you got to get, right?
Well, and we're also finding too that if you're willing to cater to those fans, their level of engagement increases dramatically once you are able to drive trial. And so it's not that you're admitting that your product is going to be viewed by fans that are somewhat apathetic. It's really a customer acquisition strategy.
That's important. I mean, let's face it, in this day and age with the high salaries that players are and the high costs of travel and all the other operating costs, you have to get good crowds in your facility. I mean, if you don't, you're not going to make it. And I know that's the biggest challenge the A's have faced since they've been here. The only time really the A's ever were that successful in terms of crowd numbers of people showing up on a regular basis for a prolonged period was in the late 80s with those great teams that were in.
With the Bash Brothers.
With the Bash Brothers and Dave Stewart and Ricky Henderson, that went to 3 consecutive World Series. So you got to maximize that. And I would think that kind of keeps you hopping, huh? Because I mean that's your bailiwick, so to speak. That's where you excel is in that area, right, Chris?
Yeah, we've got with the team, the on-field performance and the excitement around the team, along with the much more kind of flexible access model. We're up. We announced that we were up 7,000 ticket members, and we're pacing a few hundred a week. I mean, we're now kind of 8,000 members new for this season. So really everything that we're doing is about revitalizing the A's fan base. It's such a beautiful, rich history that this team has, and I think with all of the conversations around San Jose and Fremont, the fan base, has deteriorated a little bit, and it's really kind of Dave Cavill and my, mission per se, to revitalize those folks.
You should mention too that the A's have been here 10 years less than the Giants, and yet have won, I think, about 8 more. I've been in about 8 more postseasons. So the level of competition and the level of excellence has been there. It's just a matter of keeping the fan interest. And that's
they've always said what you've always said, that they're the best team nobody knows.
Well, they are. I mean, you think about it, they've won 9 World Championships, 4 in Philadelphia, 5 here in the East Bay. They've been in the World Series 6 times or 5 times or whatever it's been here in the Bay Area, 6 times. That's more than the Giants have been in terms of winning. So, the Giant, and I grew up a Giant fan, Chris. I'm sure you did. Maybe did you grow up a Giant fan, or were you an A's fan, or did you follow baseball as a kid?
Or a Dodger fan.
Or a Dodger fan. You're down there in Clovis.
I was not a Dodger fan growing up. In Fresno, we kind of rooted in both Bay Area.
Yeah, well, that's the way I grew up too. I mean, when the A's got here, I was 16, and we didn't have an American League team. I was so thrilled because in those days you didn't have interleague play. You didn't have the DH, and the A's were nothing when they came from Kansas City. And within 5 years, they went to the World Series and won it all. So that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, 3 years in a row.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Chris, we don't want to keep you any longer. Really appreciate you being our guest today on Sports Econ 101.
Well, thank you guys. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we'll look forward to meeting you during the season, Chris. You have a good one, man. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, we'll see you down the road.
All right, good guy.
It was very nice of him to stay on this all this time.
Yeah. Chris is, busy man, as you can tell. He's out and about on his cell phone, like all of us. I tell you, man, sometimes I feel like I live on this thing. I was looking at it the other day and going, how much you can do on a cell
I
phone?
know.
It's insane.
I mean, what did we do before they existed?
Before they exist. And now my daughter tells me, oh, this is going to be an antique in 10 years. So,
Probably.
You probably will be.
Yeah. Look.
You just have to think it now. Remember,
Yeah.
what is it in Iron Man, right? Where he just kind of puts his hands out and he just expands it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, like a
That's
little
right.
three-dimensional platform.
Yeah.
Just
I
just
can
out
see
there.
that happening.
Yeah.
I was thinking they could do that with a phone, where they could, you could kind of expand it
Mm.
in your mind, with your fingers, and basically start typing in the air.
Robert Downey Jr., right? For
Yeah,
Iron Man?
a lot of retina
There you go.
identification. There'll be a lot of that.
Yeah. By the way, this is off the wall, but what's going on with Robert Downey Jr.? I haven't heard boo from this guy lately. He used to be on Facebook all the time. I was a friend of his on Facebook, and it was amusing to read his posts because he had some interesting posts.
Yeah, there was some thought that the Marvel franchise, either by his desire or whatever, he was going to like move on from playing Tony Stark all the time because he was starting to feel his age or whatever. But I don't know.
Captain Marvel is a woman, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, my daughter's best friend. I was taking.
There have actually been three. There've been three Captain Marvels in his history. The very first one was a man.
Yeah.
But in most recent years in the comic strip, this Captain Marvel was a fighter pilot, like this particular.
Okay, so you had
role.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I mean, you get some of the females.
I saw it last week.
I was going to say I was giving my daughter and her friend a ride to school today, and her friend was raving about it. She goes, "Oh, girl power!"
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
13-year-old. She's really into that.
Yeah,
Was it a good
the
movie?
strong female leads have entered big time.
Yeah.
The action film.
Well, Wonder Woman was a good movie. Was this good?
Yeah. I thought it was. Was it the greatest of the giants of the Marvel franchise? I don't know. It takes place in the 80s, and it takes place before Nick Fury became like the Agent Shield, Nick Fury.
Interesting.
So you see a younger Samuel with hair, with both eyes.
Oh,
And
that's right.
yeah,
Well, my favorite is still Jessica Alba. I love her.
yeah.
The Invisible Woman. Right?
Oh, right.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna get to our third trivia question. I should have kept Chris on for this one. Which A's pitcher in 1994 lost a perfect game and a no-hitter when umpire Gary Cederstrom erroneously called Greg Gagne safe on an infield grounder?
God, I should know that one. 1994. That was the strike year.
Yeah,
That was kind of a forgotten year.
Yeah, exactly.
94.
94, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that year.
That was the year I met my wife.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the year Matt Williams could have broken the record too.
Yeah, it was the year.
Remember
Yeah, and then he was gone. He traded to the
Yep.
well, not for a few more years. Traded to the Diamondbacks.
All right, stay with the Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back with some closing comments.
Oh God.
That was the famous Brian Sabian. I am not an idiot.
Oh God. That was,
Is that what he said?
Because he just got railed
That's just
when
like
he
the
when he
opening.
traded
I am
Matt
not
Williams.
inevitable.
Ralph Barbieri and Pete Franklin just beat him up on our radio station, and he came down to the station, had a meeting with our entire staff, and Bob Agnew was there, and Franklin and Barbieri were, kind of criticizing him. And Brian was a young guy, fairly not really well known. He literally stood up and he goes, "I am not an idiot."
Yeah, that was
And again, why did they call him an idiot?
Because trading Matt Williams away, who was
Oh,
a
God.
Because he traded him away. Yeah.
for Jeff Kent, who nobody had really known that much about, who actually turned out to be a better player.
Yeah.
Jeff Cannon, who was the pitcher?
Julian Tavares.
Yeah.
What a character he was.
Rubber arm. Pitched a lot of
He
innings.
did.
Yeah.
I think he was in 65 games one year. They also got Jose Vizcaino for 1 year. He was good shortstop.
Yeah, I
and, a guy
forgot
named,
about him.
and then a guy named Joe Roa, who pitched, I think, 1 year. He was a minor leaguer, but
Don't
in
remember him.
'97. Yeah, no, not too memorable.
All right, guys, ready?
Yes.
Matt Williams, the Marine.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like that.
yeah, good guy from Bishop, California.
There you go. Let's
Yeah.
go for you guys.
Now third base coach for
Yeah.
your Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan and Vern Glenn. Last trivia question: which A's pitcher in 1994 lost a perfect game and a no-hitter when umpire Gary Cedarstrom erroneously called Greg Gagne safe on an infield grounder?
God, I should know that one. And
No,
I'm just drawing a
Drew
blank.
Blanken.
I'm drawing a blank. 1994 was a lost year. you
Yeah,
know?
no, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you the initials. BW.
Still don't have it.
Bobby Witt.
Bobby
Witt.
Witt, who was really more distinguished with the Texas Rangers.
True.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. The A's had a lot of pitchers. They've had Bartolo Colon. They've had
Yeah, and
Yeah.
in those days, the A's had a nice run of making the playoffs, and then I was working for Cron
Yeah.
at the time, and we got the A's contract, so we had the A's games. The moment we got the A's, they sank like a
Yeah.
stone.
yeah. After '92, the Haas family decided they just were going to get out of the business, and La Russa hung around for 3 more years, but they couldn't hold it together.
Mhm.
Is that like
Yeah.
being on cover of Sports Illustrated? It's sort of a curse. As soon as Cron gets a.
Oh man, they just
All right, guys.
nothing.
Here's our thoughts for the day. You can never make the same mistake twice because the second time you make it, it's not a mistake. It's a choice.
Mm. It's a trend,
It's a or a
not a good
trend.
trend either.
And be happy always because it's right. Don't allow others to steal your right to happiness.
I like that.
You like that one?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Okay.
Sports Econ 101, we always try to uplift people here.
You are an uplifting guy.
Well, thank you for
I always feel, both you guys are. I always feel a little more light in the shoes when I walk out the door. I don't feel
Little pep in the
go.
step.
pep in the step.
Nice.
Yes, there you
I
go.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing more sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. Well, we'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long. We should say good day, America. I don't think we're on tonight.
Mhm.
Actually, you don't know about it because sometimes whoever plays us. Do you know that sometimes, I don't know if the show airs, but sometimes I get a commercial that I can throw on the air, like the Mount View Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And Darren will throw it into Sirius XM.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if there's anybody you know who wants
And the only
commercials,
Part of that, I felt badly because the first half he was talking on the speakerphone, and I could only
I can
hear.
barely hear him.
Yeah.
So,
Gotta-
hopefully the Sports Byline will
There's not
think
much
there's
you
a
can
way
do.
they
Yeah.
can. Yeah, we didn't want him to get a ticket though.
Yeah.
That was very nice of him. Because I know David Cavall, we tried to have him, but he's bailed on us a couple of
Yeah.
times.
Oh, Cavill bailed?
Cavall.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
too bad. Usually
Yeah.
he's pretty good about
He
that.
is usually pretty good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We've had Bob Myers on.
Bob was great.
I'm trying to think if we could. I'd love to get John Lynch on because he's very bright and articulate. I think
Mhm.
John Lynch, the jury is still out on what kind of a general manager he's going to be, though, because he's made some
Well,
good moves.
this will be the year.
Yeah, if they can keep
this-
Garoppolo healthy, they've got a shot. It's going to be a fun year for the NFL for locally with the Raiders bringing in some new players, and the 49ers will be much better. I'm looking forward to seeing the Sharks in the playoffs. The Warriors, you're probably right. You guys, I'm probably
goodbye.
getting over.
Bye.
Goodbye. I'm probably a little overreaction.